Christmas was not about dominance or power. It was about this feeling, this warmth. 3 weeks passed in a blur of activity. Harmony 7 transformed from a simple research station into something that looked like a celebration exploded across it. Every corridor glowed. Every window showed elaborate displays. Ships approaching the station from light years away could see it shining in space like a small sun. The power consumption, stabilized thanks to Yoon's careful management and the power cells Vectar had provided. Day organized rotating schedules so different sections could run their displays at full brightness without overloading the grid. Nari documented everything, her reports growing longer each day. But as December 24th approached in Earth's calendar, a new problem arrived. A ship appeared on the station's sensors. A large Kresh warship. The signature identified it as belonging to Mektor, a rival clan leader known for his pride and competitive nature. Captain, the communications officer called to Gina. We are receiving a transmission from the approaching vessel. Clan leader Mektor requests permission to dock. Gina looked at Raxthor, who had come to the command center. Did you know he was coming? No, Captain, Raxthor said, his scales darkening with concern. Mektor and I have that history. Our clans compete for contracts and honor. He would not come here without reason. Let him dock, Gina decided, but have security ready just in case. When Mektor's ship docked an hour later, he emerged with 20 warriors behind him. All wore their finest armor. All carried themselves with aggressive pride. Mektor himself was scarred and battle-worn, his scales marked with old victories. Raxthor, he called out across the docking bay. I have come to see this Christmas dominance display I have heard about. Word has spread across the Kresh worlds. They say your station shines brighter than any other installation. It is not my display, Raxthor said carefully. It is a collaborative effort. All species contribute. But you are in charge of security, Mektor said. This station is under your protection. Therefore its displays reflect on you, and I have come to challenge them. A tense silence filled the bay. The cubs who had been watching from the upper level rushed down. Challenge? Pip asked nervously. Yes, Mektor turned to face them. I have brought my own materials, my own lights, my own warriors who understand proper display techniques. We will create something that surpasses what you have made. We will show what true Kresh Christmas dominance looks like. This is not about competition, Zix tried to explain. Christmas is about cooperation and joy. Everything is about competition, Mektor snorted. How else do we improve? How else do we prove our worth? You may have forgotten this in your peaceful station, but I have not. Day arrived with Tay and Hai. They assessed the situation quickly. Clan leader Mektor, Tay said politely. Welcome to Harmony 7. We are happy to have you join our Christmas celebration. There is room for everyone. I am not joining, Mektor said firmly. I am competing. And I will win. Win what? Hay asked. There is no prize. Pride, Mektor said simply. Recognition. The knowledge that my displays are superior. Is this not what Christmas is about? Demonstrating your worth? Tay looked at the cubs. They looked down at their feet, clearly remembering his presentation about peace and kindness. But they also understood Mektor's perspective. Competition was in Kresh nature. Actually, Tay said slowly, maybe there is a way to make this work. We were planning to have judging anyway. For different categories. Best display, most creative, most traditional. Why not let clan leader Mektor participate? I do not want to participate, Mektor growled. I want to win, completely, totally. I want my display to be so superior that there is no question. Then prove it, Kree said suddenly. All eyes turned to her. She stood straighter, her young voice gaining confidence. Make your display. Show us what you can do. But follow our rules, our safety guidelines, our power allocations. If you can work within our system and still create something amazing, then you will have truly won. Mektor studied the young Kresh for a long moment. Then he laughed, a deep rumbling sound. Well spoken, cub, very well. I accept your terms, but know this, I will not hold back. My warriors and I will create something that will make the stars themselves jealous. We look forward to seeing it, Pip said bravely. As Mektor's warriors began unloading their materials, Tay pulled the cubs aside. This could be a disaster, or it could be exactly what we need. What do you mean? Zix asked. If Mektor creates something amazing while following the rules, it shows that Christmas can include competition without losing its spirit. Tay explained. It proves that different people can celebrate in different ways. But what if he does not follow the rules? Kree worried. Then we deal with it, Day said firmly. Together. Over the next 2 days, Mektor and his warriors worked constantly. They claimed an empty cargo bay that had been reserved for storage. Within hours, they had transformed it. The other residents of Harmony 7 tried to peek inside, but Mektor posted guards. He wanted his display to be a surprise. Meanwhile, the Cubs focused on their own section. They had been working on something special. A display that combined what they had learned about human Christmas with their own Kresh aesthetic. Lights formed patterns that told stories of honor and family. Trees made of metal stood decorated with symbols representing both Kresh and human values. Gift boxes lined the walls, each one prepared for someone specific on the station. Do you think Santa's spirit will approve? Pip asked as they made final adjustments. I think we did our best, Zix replied. That is all we can do. And we learned what Christmas really means, Kree added. Not dominance, not competition, but caring about others, showing them they matter. Hay, who was helping them adjust some lights, smiled. You three have come a long way. I am proud of you. The Cubs felt that warmth again, that strange human emotion that they were learning to recognize. Pride, but different from battle pride. Softer, deeper. Pride in connection rather than victory. On December 24th, station time synchronized to Earth's calendar. Captain Gina announced that Mektor would reveal his display. Everyone gathered in the corridor outside the cargo bay. Humans, Kresh, Velnari, Hortex, Prex, and a dozen other species. The entire station population seemed to be there. Mektor stood before the sealed door. He looked confident, almost smug. Witnesses, he called out. I present to you the true meaning of Christmas dominance. The doors opened. Everyone gasped. The cargo bay was filled with light, but not the aggressive patterns they expected. Instead, Mektor had created a scene. A replica of a Kresh homeworld winter landscape, covered in crystalline formations that reflected light in every direction. In the center stood a massive tree, but it was decorated with thousands of tiny figures. Each figure represented someone on the station. Kresh, human and alien, all together. Around the tree, Mektor had arranged gifts. Real gifts wrapped carefully with names attached. One for every single resident of Harmony 7. Over 200 gifts. Each one personally chosen. I researched your people, Mektor said quietly. All of you. I learned what you like. What you value. What would make you happy. This is my Christmas display. Not just lights and decoration, but thoughtfulness, consideration, care. Tay stepped forward slowly. He picked up a gift with his name on it. May I? Please, Mektor nodded. Tay opened it carefully. Inside was a small data crystal. When he activated it, a hologram appeared. It showed images from Earth, his hometown, places he had not seen in years. How did you? Tay's voice cracked with emotion. I contacted Earth, Mektor said. Asked for records. I thought you might miss home during your human holiday. Tears filled Tay's eyes. This is the best gift anyone has given me. Thank you. Other residents began opening their gifts. Each one was personal, meaningful, chosen with care. A Velnari received crystals from her home planet. A Hortex got rare seeds. A Prex received a custom containment field upgrade he had mentioned wanting months ago. Pip approached Mektor. You understood. You really understood what Christmas means. I listened to your human friends, Mektor said. I watched how you changed. How you started thinking of others instead of just yourselves. I thought Christmas was about dominance. But you showed me it was about something stronger. Connection, community. These are true power, not force. Not aggression, but bonds that hold beings together. Raxthor stepped forward, his old rivalry with Mektor forgotten. You have honored us all, clan leader. You have honored Christmas itself. We should all honor it together, Mektor said. He gestured to the scene he had created. Come, all of you. Stand in the display. Let us take an image. To remember this moment. They crowded into the cargo bay. Humans and Kresh and aliens of all kinds. Standing together among the lights and the gifts and the beauty. Nari used her datapad to capture the image. Everyone was smiling. Even the stern Kresh warriors looked happy. But then alarms began ringing. Red lights flashed in the corridors. Captain to the command center. Gina's voice came over the communication system. Power overload. All decorative displays must be shut down immediately. The happiness drained from the room. They had reached the limit. Despite all their careful planning, they had pushed the station too far. No, Cree said softly. Not now. Not on Christmas Eve. We have no choice, Day said, regretful. The station meeting room was packed. Every species on Harmony 7 had sent representatives. Kresh warriors stood along the back wall, too large for the regular chairs. Velnari sat in their special cushioned seats. Hortex occupied the floor area, their plant-like bodies swaying gently. Prex floated near the ceiling in their containment fields. Humans scattered throughout, looking nervous and excited. Tay stood at the front with a holographic projector. He had spent all night preparing his presentation. Hay sat in the front row for moral support. Captain Gina stood to the side, her arms crossed, watching carefully. Thank you all for coming, Tay began. I want to talk about Christmas. The real Christmas. I think there has been some confusion about what this holiday means to humans. He activated the projector. Images of Earth appeared. Snow-covered villages. Families gathered around trees. Children opening presents with joy on their faces. Christmas started as a religious holiday on Earth, Tay explained. But over time it became something more. A celebration of family, peace, and generosity. We give gifts not as tribute, but as expressions of love. We decorate not to show dominance, but to create beauty and joy. The Kresh warriors shifted uncomfortably. Pip leaned over to Zix and whispered, but the competition. The displays. Tay showed more images. Yes, some humans compete to have the best decorations. But it is friendly competition. For fun, not for dominance. The goal is to spread happiness, not prove strength. Vectar stood up. His massive frame drew everyone's attention. Human Tai, I mean no disrespect. But what you describe sounds very different from what we observed. You and Human High worked very hard on your displays. You talked about making them bigger and brighter. You seemed determined to excel. Well, yes, Tay admitted. We wanted it to look nice. We were excited. But it was not about power or territory. But you marked your door with the wreath, Pip called out. A clear territorial symbol. It is just a decoration, Tay said helplessly. He looked at Hay for help. Hay stood up. Let me try. The wreath is round. It represents eternity, togetherness. It is a symbol of welcome, not warning. The lights represent hope in darkness. The tree represents life continuing through winter. Every symbol in Christmas is about positive things. Life, love, family, hope. The room was quiet. Then Gormak spoke from the back. These are warrior virtues. What you fight to protect. Your families. Your hope for the future. You display these symbols to remind yourselves what matters. I suppose that is one way to see it, Hay said slowly. It is honorable, Vectar said firmly. Whether you call it dominance or not, you are displaying your values with pride. This is worthy of respect. Tay tried again. But Christmas is supposed to be peaceful, gentle, about kindness. We have been kind, Cree said, sounding confused. We have helped each other with displays. We have shared materials. Is this not kindness? And peaceful, Zix added. There has been no fighting, only cooperation. Tay realized they were right. Despite the misunderstanding, the station had become more united. Species that normally kept to themselves were working together, sharing ideas, creating together. A small voice spoke up from the side. Excuse me, may I say something? Everyone turned. A human child stood up. Her name was Rhea, and she was visiting the station with her parents. She could not have been more than 7 years old, yes, Rhea? Tay said gently. You forgot the most important part of Christmas, Rhea said. Her voice was clear and confident. Santa Claus. The room filled with confused murmurs. Most aliens did not know this name. Who is Santa Claus? Pip asked eagerly, pulling out his datapad to take notes. Rhea smiled. Santa is the Christmas guardian. He watches everyone all year. He knows if you have been good or bad. If you are good, he brings you presents on Christmas Eve. He flies through the sky in a magic sleigh pulled by reindeer and comes down chimneys to leave gifts. The Kresh cubs stared at her. Their scales rippled with shock. A guardian, Zix said slowly, who watches all year. And judges worthiness, Cree added, and only rewards those who prove themselves, Pip finished. Well, it is not about proving, Tay started, but the damage was done. Vectar stood again, his voice reverent. This Santa Claus, he is the ultimate arbiter, the one who oversees the entire dominance season, who decides who is worthy of tribute. He checks his list twice, Rhea added helpfully, to make sure he gets it right. Twice, Gormak breathed. Thorough assessment. Careful judgment. This is a true master of evaluation. And he sees everything? Pip asked Rhea. Everything, Rhea confirmed. He knows when you are sleeping. He knows when you are awake. He knows if you have been bad or good. Total surveillance, Zik said in awe. Perfect situational awareness. This Santa must be a great warrior, Vectar declared. To maintain such watchfulness. To judge so many beings. And he delivers rewards personally, flying through darkness. On Christmas Eve, Cree said urgently. When is this? When does Santa make his judgment? December 24th, Rhea said. But that is Earth calendar. I do not know what day that is in station time. Tay checked his data pad. That is in 3 weeks. The creche looked at each other with sudden determination. 3 weeks, Pip said. We must prepare. We must prove ourselves worthy to Santa Claus. Our displays must be perfect, Zix agreed. To show we understand the ritual. We must demonstrate our commitment to Christmas spirit, Cree declared. Vectar nodded approvingly. The cubs speak wisdom. If this Santa judges all beings, we must show that creche are worthy of recognition. We will not be found lacking. Wait, Tay said desperately. Santa is not real. He is a story for children. The entire room went silent. Every alien stared at Tay in shock. Even the humans looked uncomfortable. Not real, Pip said quietly. His voice held confusion and hurt. He is a myth, Tay explained. A fun story. Parents give the presents, not Santa. We just tell children about Santa to make Christmas magical for them. Rhea tugged on Ty's sleeve. My mama says Santa is real, she whispered. She says Santa lives in our hearts. Tay knelt down to her level. That is a sweet way to think about it. So Santa is a spiritual concept, Gormak said thoughtfully. An ideal. The embodiment of the Christmas values. Watching and judging represents self-reflection. We judge ourselves by our own actions. That is actually pretty accurate, Hai said, surprised. Then we must still prove ourselves, Vectar decided. If not to a physical Santa, then to the ideal he represents. We will show that we understand these values. Peace, kindness, generosity. We will demonstrate these through our displays and actions. The other aliens nodded in agreement. Even the non-creche species seemed inspired by the idea. Day leaned over to Gina and whispered, This is spiraling in a weird but oddly positive direction. I know, Gina whispered back. I cannot decide if we should stop it or just let it happen. The station has never been this cooperative, Day pointed out. Look at them. All different species, all excited about the same goal. When has that ever happened? Gina had to admit he was right. Despite the chaos, despite the power consumption, despite the complete misunderstanding of Christmas traditions, something good was happening. The station felt alive in a way it never had before. Nari stood up. Captain, if I may make a suggestion, why do we not embrace this? Create an official station festival. Establish rules and guidelines, but let them continue. This could become a new tradition. A Harmony 7 tradition. Our own version of Christmas. That is not a bad idea, Gina said slowly. Tay stood up again. If we are going to do this, let me at least teach you how to do it safely. There are rules about electrical loads, fire safety, structural integrity. Let me help you design displays that are both impressive and safe. And I can help with organization, Day added. We can create categories. Give everyone specific areas to decorate. Make it fair. I will document everything, Nari said eagerly. This is unprecedented. Cultural exchange and evolution happening in real time. The Xenoanthropology Institute will love this. Vectar stepped forward. Humans, we accept your guidance. Teach us your methods. Help us honor Christmas properly. In return, we will make Harmony 7 shine like no other station in the galaxy. Deal, Tay said, shaking the massive creche's claw carefully. The meeting ended with everyone energized. Plans were made. Areas were designated. Safety teams were organized. Hay volunteered to create a database of Christmas symbols and their meanings. Wu offered to grow special plants that could survive in different atmospheric conditions. Yun began calculating power distribution to support all the displays without overloading the grid. As the room emptied, Pip approached Rhea. The small human child looked up at the young creche without fear. Thank you for telling us about Santa, Pip said. Even if he is not real, the idea is good. Someone watching to make sure we are good. It makes me want to be better. That is what my mama says too, Rhea smiled. Santa helps us remember to be nice. We will be nice, Pip promised. We will make the best Christmas ever. for Santa's spirit, and for the humans who shared this with us. Rhea hugged his leg. Pip looked down in surprise, then gently patted her head with one careful claw. Kresh do not usually hug, he said softly. Then Merry Christmas, Rhea said. That is my gift to you. A hug. Pip felt something warm spread through his chest. Perhaps he was beginning to understand after all. Not the way humans meant it, but in his own way. The Kresh quarters transformed overnight. Pip, Zix, and Kree worked through the entire sleep cycle, and they were not alone. When other Kresh warriors on the station heard about the Christmas display competition, they all wanted to join. Within 3 days, the Kresh section of Harmony 7 looked completely different. Lights covered every wall, but not the gentle strings that Tay had used. These were bright, almost blinding. They formed sharp patterns that looked like claw marks and lightning bolts. The Kresh had studied human methods and then made them more intense, more powerful, more dominant. Nari, the medical officer, was the first human to see it. She walked past the Kresh quarters on her way to check a patient. When she looked through their windows, she stopped and stared. Oh my, she said softly. The lights were everywhere. They hung from the ceiling in aggressive formations. They lined the floors like territorial boundaries. In the center of the main room stood what looked like a tree, but it was made entirely of metal and covered in sharp, shining objects that reflected the lights. It was beautiful in a dangerous way. A young Kresh warrior saw her watching. Do you approve of our Christmas display, Medical Officer Nari? He asked proudly. It is very impressive, Nari said carefully. Very bright. We wish to honor the human tradition, the warrior explained, to show we understand the importance of the dominance season. The what season? Nari asked, but the warrior had already gone back inside to adjust more lights. Nari went straight to Captain Gina's office. She found the captain staring at multiple screens showing power consumption reports. The numbers were climbing rapidly. Captain, have you seen the Kresh quarters? Nari asked. I have seen the power readings, Gina said tiredly. They are using 3 times their normal allocation. And it is not just them. Look at this. She turned the screen so Nari could see. All across the station, power consumption was rising. The Kresh had started it, but now other species were joining in. The Velnari had covered their section in glowing crystals. The Hortex had created living light displays using bioluminescent plants. Even the normally quiet Prex had hung strings of pale lights in their chambers. What is happening? Gina asked. I think, Nari said slowly. The Kresh misunderstood Christmas, and now everyone else is copying them. At that moment, Tay burst into the office. His eyes were wide with excitement. Captain, have you seen what the Kresh did? It is amazing. They really got into the Christmas spirit. Tay, Gina said carefully. Why are the Kresh calling Christmas a dominant season? Tay paused. What? They told me their displays show dominance. That Christmas is about competition and territorial marking. That is not... Tay started, then stopped. He thought about how he had been decorating. How he and Hay had tried to make each display better than the last. How they had talked about making the biggest, brightest decorations on the station. Oh no, he said quietly. What did you tell them? Gina asked. Nothing. I just decorated. But maybe they watched us and thought. Tay ran his hand through his hair. I need to talk to Hai. He ran out of the office. Gina and Nari looked at each other. Should we stop this? Nari asked. Can we stop this? Gina replied. She looked at the power consumption charts again. They were still climbing. We will need emergency power cells soon. Let me contact Day. He can help manage the situation. Day arrived an hour later. The human security officer was Tay's friend and used to dealing with unusual situations. But when he walked through the station, even he was shocked. The corridors were covered in lights. Every species had added their own style. It looked like a festival had exploded across Harmony 7. Aliens from different sections stood in groups, pointing at each other's displays and talking excitedly. The station had never been so bright or so busy. This is insane, Day said when he found Tay and Hay in their quarters. I know, Tay said miserably. I did not mean for this to happen. I just wanted to celebrate Christmas. We need to explain it properly, Hay said. We need to tell them what Christmas really means. I tried, Tay said. I went to the Kresh quarters and talked to Pip. But when I explained about peace and kindness, he just nodded and said, yes, peace through strength. We understand. They do not understand at all. Before anyone could respond, a loud announcement echoed through the station. It was Raxthor's voice. "Attention all residents. We have a visitor. Ship approaching Dock 7. Kresh clan leader Vectar is arriving with supplies for the Christmas celebration. All Kresh warriors report to the docking bay." "Oh no," Day said. "More Kresh?" They rushed to the docking bay. By the time they arrived, Vectar's ship was already connected. The airlock opened and a massive Kresh stepped through. He was even bigger than Raxthor, covered in darker scales and wearing a ceremonial harness decorated with old battle honors. Behind him, other Kresh carried boxes. "Dozens of boxes. I bring materials for the dominance season," Vectar announced loudly. "When I heard that Harmony 7 was celebrating the human Christmas ritual, I knew we must contribute. These are ceremonial lights from our homeworld. They are used only for the most important war festivals." The boxes opened. Inside were lights unlike anything the humans had seen. They pulsed with energy. They changed colors and patterns that seemed to follow heartbeats. They were absolutely beautiful and absolutely terrifying. "This is getting out of control," Gina said. She had come to see the visitor. "We cannot support this much power consumption." The station has limits, but Vectar heard her. "Captain Gina, I understand your concern. I have also brought portable power cells, enough to supply the station for 2 weeks. Consider it our gift for this wonderful tradition." Gina opened her mouth, then closed it. She looked at Tay, who looked at Hay, who looked at Day. None of them knew what to say. Pip, Zix, and Kree approached Vectar respectfully. "Clan leader, we wish to learn. How should we arrange these ceremonial lights to properly honor the Christmas display?" "With pride," Vectar said. "With strength. Show the universe that when Kresh celebrate, we do it with full commitment. Come, I will teach you." The cubs followed him eagerly. Other Kresh warriors joined them. Soon the docking bay was full of aliens arranging lights in complex patterns, discussing the best ways to show their Christmas spirit. He pulled Tay aside. "We need to let them know the truth. This is not what Christmas is about." "But look at them," Tay said softly. "Look how happy they are. How excited. I have never seen the Kresh like this. They are working together, creating art, being proud of something beautiful instead of just battle training." "But they think it is a dominance competition," Hai insisted. "Does it matter?" Tay asked. "They are not fighting. They are not hurting anyone. They are just decorating. Really, really intensely decorating." Day laughed despite himself. He has a point. This is probably the most peaceful the station has ever been. Everyone is too busy with lights to argue about anything else. Nari had been listening quietly. Now she spoke up. "From a xenoanthropology perspective, this is fascinating. The Kresh are interpreting our culture through their own lens. It is not wrong. It is just different." "But the power consumption," Gina said. She was still worried. "And what happens when they want to escalate more?" "We manage it," Day said firmly. "We set limits. We organize it, turn this chaos into something structured." "Like what?" Gina asked. "Like a proper festival," Hay said suddenly, her eyes lighting up. "If they want to compete, let them compete properly. Organize it. Make categories. Best display. Most creative. Most traditional. Give out awards. A Christmas festival," Tay said slowly. "On the station. For all species. Why not?" Nari grinned. "We have never had a station-wide festival before. This could be good for morale, good for interspecies relations." Gina thought about it. She looked at the docking bay where Kresh and humans and other aliens worked together, stringing up the new lights. Everyone was smiling. Even the stern Kresh warriors looked pleased. "Fine," she said finally, "but there are rules. Power limits for each section, safety inspections for all displays, and someone needs to actually explain Christmas properly to them before this gets even more out of hand." "I will do it," Tay volunteered. "I will make a presentation. Show videos from Earth. Explain the real history and meaning." "Good," Gina said. "Tomorrow, mandatory attendance for all residents. We are having a station meeting." As they left the docking bay, Tay looked back one more time. Pip was teaching a Velnari engineer how to sync light patterns. Zix was helping a Hortex botanist combine bioluminescent plants with electrical lights. Kree was drawing designs on a data pad, while a group of mixed species looked over her shoulder. "Offering suggestions, maybe," Tay said quietly. "We accidentally started something good." "Or something that will destroy the station's power grid," Hay replied. but she was smiling. Outside the station, the lights were already visible from space. A small glowing sphere in the darkness. Ships passing by slowed down to look at the strange sight. Word was spreading across the galaxy. Something unusual was happening on Harmony 7. Something bright and chaotic and completely unprecedented. The Predator Cubs had discovered Christmas, and now the entire station was lighting up like a star. Yun was fixing a broken climate control panel when the three Kresh Cubs found him. He heard their claws clicking on the metal floor before he saw them. When he turned around, 3 pairs of golden eyes stared at him with intense focus. "Oh, hello," Yun said, putting down his tools. He was used to different aliens on the station, but young Kresh still made him nervous. They were already bigger than him, even though they were not fully grown. "Can I help you?" "We have questions," Pip said. His translator device turned his rumbling voice into clear words. "About the human ritual. The lights. The territorial markers." "Territorial markers." Yun looked confused. Then he smiled. "Oh, you mean the Christmas decorations? In Tay and Hay's quarters?" "Yes," Zik stepped forward. "We wish to understand this Christmas. What is its purpose?" Yun sat down on a supply crate. This would take some explaining. Well, Christmas is a holiday, a special time of year for humans. It is about family and giving gifts to people you care about. We decorate our homes to make them festive and beautiful. The 3 cubs looked at each other. Their tails moved in what Yun had learned was confusion. "Gifts?" Kree asked. "You mean tribute?" "No, not tribute," Yun said carefully. "Gifts are things you give freely, to show appreciation, to make others happy. So you give them to the strongest?" Pip asked. "To the leaders?" No. You give them to everyone. Friends, family, even strangers sometimes. It is not about strength. It is about kindness." The cubs were silent for a moment. Their scales rippled, which Yun knew meant they were thinking hard. "And the lights?" Zix asked. "The patterns on the walls? The bright colors?" "Just decoration," Yun shrugged. "They make us happy. They remind us of the holiday spirit. Of warmth and joy during the cold season on Earth." "Holiday spirit," Pip repeated slowly. "This is a state of mind? A type of warrior focus?" "Well, sort of," Yun said, not wanting to confuse them more. "It is about feeling good. About being together with loved ones." "Loved ones," Kree said. "Your clan. Your family unit." "Exactly." Yun smiled, thinking he was making progress. "So this Christmas is a time when the family clan gathers," Zik said slowly, "and they exchange tribute. Gifts. To show their bonds. And they mark their territory with bright colors to announce this gathering to others." "That is close enough," Yun said. He was not sure he had explained it right, but the cubs seemed satisfied. "Thank you, Engineer Yun," Pip said formally. "You have given us valuable knowledge." The 3 cubs left quickly. Yun watched them go, feeling like he had just passed a test he did not understand. He went back to his panel, not thinking much more about it, but the cubs were thinking a lot. They went straight to the hydroponics bay, where Wu was working with his plants. The human botanist was carefully trimming red flowers when they arrived. "Excuse us," Kree said politely. "We have more questions about Christmas." Wu looked up, surprised but friendly. "Sure, what do you want to know?" "Engineer Yun told us about the gift giving and the family gathering," Pip explained. "But we want to understand more. Why do you prepare so much? What is the goal?" Wu thought about it while he worked. "Well, the goal is just to have a good time, I suppose. To celebrate another year. To be grateful for what we have. And to share that happiness with others." "Share happiness," Zix wrote notes on his datapad. "Through gifts and lights and gathering." "Right," Wu nodded. "And food. Lots of special food. And music and stories." "This is a very elaborate ritual," Kree observed. "How long does the preparation take?" "Oh, people on Earth start preparing weeks in advance. Some start right after the previous Christmas ends." Wu laughed. "My mother always said Christmas is not one day, it is a whole season." The cubs looked shocked. Their scales stood up slightly. "An entire season?" Pip said. "For this one ritual?" "Sure," Wu said. "Some people love it that much. They compete to have the best decorations in their neighborhood. Some houses have thousands of lights." "Compete," Zix said quietly. "Thousands of lights. To show who is best at Christmas spirit," Kree added. "Well, I would not say best," Wu started, but the cubs were already leaving, talking excitedly among themselves. What Wu and Yun did not know was that an older Kresh had overheard everything. Gormak was an elder warrior, visiting the station to inspect security protocols. He had been walking past the hydroponics bay when he heard the conversation. Now he stood in the corridor, his old eyes thoughtful. An entire season dedicated to displaying strength through elaborate markers, families gathering to show unity, competition between households, gift-giving as tribute and bonds. This was not the humans he had been told about. The peaceful, soft species who talked instead of fought. This sounded like a warrior culture. A proud culture. Hidden beneath smiles and kindness, Gormak made his way to the human quarters. He wanted to see these decorations himself. When he arrived, he stopped and stared. The lights were everywhere. They covered the walls in aggressive patterns. The tree in the corner stood like a battle standard covered in shining armor. No ornaments. The wreath on the door looked like a victory crown. Beautiful, he rumbled. Tay came to the door, hearing the Kresh elder outside. "Hello, can I help you?" "I am Gormak," the elder said. "I wish to see your holiday preparations." "They are most impressive." "Thank you," Tay beamed with pride. "We are not done yet. Next week we will add even more lights, and Hay is making a small village display with tiny buildings and figures." "More?" Gormak's eyes widened. "You will increase the display?" "Of course," Tay said happily. "Christmas is about going big, about making everything magical and bright." "I see," Gormak said slowly. "This Christmas. It is very important to humans." "One of our most important holidays," Tay confirmed. "We celebrate it across Earth. Billions of humans participate." "Billions," Gormak repeated. "Your entire species performs this ritual." "Well, many do. It is a very old tradition." Gormak nodded respectfully and left. His mind was spinning. The humans had been hiding their true nature. Or perhaps not hiding. Perhaps they simply never thought to mention it. They were warriors, after all. They had fought in great wars. They had conquered their own planet's challenges. They had come to space and thrived, and now he understood. This Christmas was how they maintained their warrior spirit, how they reminded each other of their strength and unity. The lights were not just decoration. They were declarations. The gifts were not just presents. They were bonds of alliance. The whole season was a cultural ritual of power and pride. He found Raxthor in the security office again. The Cubs were there too, reporting their findings. "Uncle Engineer Yun told us that humans give gifts to everyone," Pip was saying. "Not just to leaders. To show their bonds are strong across the entire group." "And botanist Wu said they compete to have the best displays," Zix added. "Thousands of lights. Entire neighborhoods challenging each other. The preparation lasts for an entire season," Kree finished. "It is their most important ritual." Raxthor looked troubled. "I do not think we understand correctly. Humans are not aggressive like this." "But I have seen it myself," Gormak said, entering the room. "The displays are remarkable." And Tay himself said billions of humans participate. Their entire species celebrates this Christmas. Raxthor stood up. He looked at the elder, then at the Cubs. "We may have misunderstood human culture. Perhaps they show strength differently than we do, through beauty and generosity instead of combat and roaring." "It is still strength," Gormak said firmly, "just in another form. We should respect it. Perhaps we should even participate." "Participate?" Pip's eyes grew bright. "Why not?" the elder said. "If humans have a season of display and dominance, we should honor it. To show we are equals. To show we too can be strong in this way." The Cubs looked at each other. Excitement rippled through their scales. "Can we, Uncle?" Zix asked. "Can we make our own Christmas display?" Raxthor thought about it. Cultural exchange was encouraged on the station, and if the humans were impressed by such things, it would show the Kresh in a good light. "Very well," he said. "You may prepare your own displays. But do it properly. Research human methods. Make it worthy of Kresh pride." The three Cubs rushed out, already planning. They did not see Gormak smile. They did not hear him tell Raxthor that this would be good for young warriors to learn about other cultures. And none of them knew they had completely misunderstood everything. The station floated in the darkness of space like a small metal moon. Inside orbital station Harmony 7, dozens of different alien species lived and worked together. The hallways were wide and clean. The lights hummed softly. Everything was peaceful and organized, exactly how Captain Gina liked it. Tay walked down the corridor carrying 3 large boxes. His arms struggled with the weight, but his face showed pure joy. Behind him, Hay carried 2 more boxes, laughing at something on her datapad. "I cannot believe you brought this much stuff," Hay said. "We only have 2 rooms in the human quarters." "It is never too much for Christmas," Tay replied. He kicked the door panel with his foot. The door slid open. "Besides, this is our first Christmas on the station. We need to do it properly." They dropped the boxes on the floor. Tay opened the first one and pulled out strings of colorful lights. They glowed red, green, blue, and gold. He found the artificial tree, still packed flat in its container. Within an hour, their common room looked completely different. Lights hung from every wall. The small tree stood in the corner, covered in shiny balls and a bright star on top. "Perfect," Tay said, stepping back to admire their work. "Now it feels like home." What Tay and Hay did not know was that 3 pairs of eyes watched them through the observation window. The window looked out into the main corridor. Anyone walking past could see inside. Pip pressed his scaled face against the glass. His golden eyes grew wide. Behind him, Zix and Cree pushed forward, trying to see better. All 3 were young Kresh, barely into their adolescent cycles. Their dark scales still had the lighter spots of youth. Their claws had not yet grown to full warrior length. "What are they doing?" Cree whispered. Her voice came out as a low rumble, the way all Kresh spoke. "I do not know," Pip answered. "But look at those colors. Look at how they arrange everything." Zix tilted his head. His training as a security cadet taught him to notice patterns. "It is very organized. See how the lights form paths along the walls? And that tree structure in the corner, it stands alone. Separate, important. It must be a ritual," Cree said. "Humans do not waste time on meaningless things." The 3 cubs watched as Tay hung a wreath on the door. The circular decoration was covered in red ribbons and small golden bells. When Tay stepped back, the bells made tiny ringing sounds. "A warning marker," Pip breathed. "On the entrance. To show territory. Uncle Raxthor told us humans were peaceful," Zix said slowly. "But this looks like dominance display." They watched for another 10 minutes. Hay brought out more decorations. Small figures of round humans in red clothes. Tiny buildings covered in white powder. Strings of lights that blinked on and off in patterns. Everything was bright and purposeful. "We should report this to Uncle Raxthor," Cree said finally. They found Raxthor in the security office. The adult Kresh warrior stood over 8 feet tall. His scales were darker than the cubs, almost black. Scars from old battles marked his arms and chest. He was reviewing reports on his data screen when the 3 cubs rushed in. "Uncle," Pip said quickly, "the humans are performing some kind of ritual. In their quarters. We watched them." Raxthor did not look up from his screen. "The humans do many odd things. It is their nature. They are curious creatures." "But Uncle, this is different," Zix insisted. "They are marking territory. Bright colors. Organized patterns. Warning sounds at the entrance. And they put all their effort into it," Cree added. "For hours. They were very serious." This made Raxthor pause. He turned his large head to look at the cubs. "Serious? Are you certain?" "Yes, Uncle. The male human Tay, he checked every light strand. Made sure each one was perfect. The female, Hay, she arranged objects with great care. Nothing was random." Raxthor stood up. His claws clicked on the metal floor as he walked to the window. He looked down the corridor toward the human quarters. From here he could see the colored lights glowing through their windows. "Interesting," he rumbled. "But humans are known for their decorative preferences. They enjoy beauty for its own sake. It is not like our people who mark territory only when necessary." "May we ask them about it?" Pip asked. "To understand?" "You may observe," Raxthor said carefully. "But do not disturb them. If they are performing cultural rituals, we must respect their privacy. It is station law." The cubs nodded and left, but they did not stop watching. Over the next 3 days, more decorations appeared in the human quarters. The lights grew brighter. New objects appeared every morning. Tay and Hay seemed to compete with each other, each bringing something more elaborate than before. On the 3rd day, Pip saw something that confirmed his suspicions. Tay stood on a ladder, hanging lights in a specific zigzag pattern along the ceiling. The pattern was aggressive. Sharp angles, like lightning, like attack formations from the old Kresh War stories, do you see? Pip whispered to the others. They crouched in the corridor, pretending to perform maintenance checks on a wall panel. "The pattern," Zix said softly. "It is strategic. Not random at all," Cree agreed. This is planned. This is purposeful. That evening, the cubs gathered in their shared quarters. The room was plain compared to human spaces. Simple sleeping platforms, weapon racks on the walls, training equipment in the corner. I think the humans are preparing for something, Pip said. He paced back and forth, his tail swishing. This ritual, whatever it is, it must be important to them. But they seem happy about it, Cree pointed out. Not aggressive. They smile and laugh while they work. Perhaps that is the human way, Zik suggested. We roar and show teeth before battle. Maybe humans smile and laugh before their challenges. It would explain much, Pip nodded. Humans are known to be strange, different from us. But they are strong. They survive in space just as we do. They must have their own ways of showing strength. We should learn more, Cree said. If this is a human tradition of power, we should understand it. Uncle Raxthor always says knowledge is the first weapon. Tomorrow, Pip decided, we will ask them directly. Humans like to talk. They will tell us. The three cubs settled into their sleeping platforms. But sleep came slowly. Their minds were full of colored lights and mysterious patterns. They dreamed of human rituals they did not yet understand. Outside their window, the station continued its endless circle around the distant sun. And in the human quarters, more lights blinked on, brighter than before. Tay stood back and smiled at his work. Wait until we start the really big decorations, he told Hae. Next week, we will cover the whole common area. The other species will think we are crazy, Hae laughed. Maybe, Tay grinned. But it will be beautiful. Neither of them noticed the three young Kresh watching from the shadows. Neither of them knew what they had started. The predator cubs had discovered Christmas, and nothing would ever be the same.